Well, I've got another big cup of tea here and I've splashed out on some very, very posh biscuits and I've got my best shirt on because today we've got a very, very important interview to be doing. The clock is ticking. We're going to hit you up with 10 questions in 10 minutes. And I'm going to kick off with question number 1. Have you ever wished that gap jumps looked as rowdy as they actually are?
Well, first of all, whenever you're doing stuff like that overseas, it's not the nicest hospitals you want to go to. You know, you saw Zink going to the hospital there, and you know, getting hurt in those areas isn't very fun for starters. And then for second of all, on that individual hit, there was like no in-run, it was all flat. I had to do this like sketchy soft corner, and I was originally thinking I was gonna break into it, and at the last second, I ended up grabbing a pedal. And thank goodness, because I made it over the knuckle by about maybe an inch and a half.
Question number 2, have you ever thought about going out to places like this and taking one of these with you? A sumo wrestler costume. Think of that, riding in that. That is a lot of padding, and I'll tell you something, they are a very big hit at parties. If you turn up in that, you will be a big hit at the next party. Ever thought of doing that?
That actually would be pretty fun. Throw that thing on and be like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna make sure I crash. I'm
assuming you haven't actually got one of these, so I mean, how do you come back from injuries? How do you deal with these injuries that you have?
Well, you know, you just take it bit by bit. You know, you can't really let it get you down too hard because, you know, doing what I do, you're gonna have to take some hard knocks and take a lot of injuries and whatnot throughout your career. So yeah, you just got to get back on a good eating program and hit the gym hard and recuperate all the little injuries you got going on.
Question number 3, have you ever wished you actually had a lighter bike?
Yeah, I've always wished for a lighter bike. It's one of those things, you know, I'm always throwing every light component I can find on my bike, lightening up my wheels, you know, doing everything I possibly can. Just because, you know, even half a pound makes a huge difference at the end of the day.
Question number 4, you've got the Berrecloth Invitational, but you're also a big rider in the Rampage, the Red Bull Rampage, every year. Have you ever wished the Rampage was called something like a little Potter in the Park or something like that? Because it is getting really rowdy.
It's getting really rowdy, but at the same time, in my opinion, I think it could even get rowdier if we just left it up to the natural terrain and we didn't build a bunch of, you know, slope-style features and stuff like that. You know, that's always been my opinion is, you know, I want it to be all natural.
Yeah, I mean, where is it going to go?
You know, like we've been actually trying to find a new location for the last like 8-9 years. You know, like we've been freaking every single continent, and you know that's always been a question in the back of our mind whether we're filming or actually scoping for an individual site to hold another Rampage. And
well, I've got quite a big back garden, and it's got a fish pond and stuff that makes quite a good jump.
Yeah.
We could
on gap.
We could talk. We'll talk about that after. Doesn't need to talk about that.
Little pond gap, maybe a little alligator in there.
Yeah, put a heron in there. Stab your tires. Have you ever wished that sometimes the actual riding was in slow motion?
No, actually, because it'd be really boring. Think about it. You know, you're like coming up to something, you're like, okay, I gotta do a little bit of a head turn, turn my bars.
Well,
okay, there's that rock, all right. Yeah, that's boring.
That's how I dance, so don't knock it till you tried it. It just seems like, how do you process that amount of information when you're spinning at normal speed? How did your little brain, I'm not saying you got a little brain, but I've got a little brain, my brain would not process that amount of information.
When you're doing this kind of stuff, it almost does seem like slow motion. When you get to the point where you've done things a certain amount of times and you're relaxed and you're comfortable and you're kind of in your zone, you know, you think back to like everything that went down, and yeah, absolutely, it was in slow motion in a sense.
Have you ever had a curry so hot your lips swelled up bigger than baboon's balls?
Yeah.
I have had curries so hot that I couldn't touch my mouth, but my lips weren't bigger than baboons' nuts. That's for sure.
Oh, really? Because I mean, you do travel a lot, and I'm figuring that you've eaten some quite creative dishes on the way.
Absolutely. You know, that's one of the fun parts about traveling is you know, trying all the new cultures, foods, and you know, really diving in. And man, I'm pretty sure I've eaten most meats known to man.
I reckon. So why is travel so important to you? Because you do a lot of it. Why are you traveling so much? What's wrong with home?
There's nothing wrong with home, but you know, there's always that addictive personality to want to understand what's over the next ridge, because you never know, there might be a pretty sweet road gap or a nice big berm or a sweet mountain line. You know, there's always that question in the back of your mind, what's over there?
So there's a lot of headcam stuff going on there with GoPro and everything in life now. Do you ever wish that every headcam, to buy one, you had to have a license, a bit like a gun, so we can control the people who can use them?
It does seem like every kid and human being nowadays has one of those things.
This is from Phil Applesby in Derbyshire, and he says, do you ever wish you had a snappier name? Because Darren Berrecloth, basically, is very, very English, and if you were in England, you would be called Dazza or Bezza.
What, geezer?
Or something like that. And it is that you have got such a boring name that you've had to change it to Berrecloth.
I would definitely say, you know, sometimes it is a long name. And, you know, a lot of people, when I'm actually, like, on the phone signing up for anything, you know, like, it takes a while for people to be like, Berrecloth? Berrecloth? You know, it definitely is a little difficult sometimes, but the nickname, it works and it sticks, and, yeah, I'm actually stoked on it.
I have had a little look at your blog and followed a little bit of that with you wandering around the world, looking for radical lines to drop down on your bike. But I've got to say, I've got to ask you, have you ever wished that you had paid a little bit more attention in school? Because your spelling is awful. Your spelling is all over the place.
Yeah, definitely. You know, when you're writing those blogs, you're just, you know, you're hammering away. You're not really focusing on all your spelling and your grammar and whatnot. So yeah, I definitely didn't pay very good enough attention.
Get out of my goddamn classroom before I break my foot off in your ass, insubordinate.
I don't imagine you could recommend that to any of the kids out there who are ripping on their bikes.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to say I would recommend it, and it's been a great ride, and I love every minute of it.
Well, Dazza or Bezza, whatever we're going to call you, we are out of time. That's smack on 10.5 minutes.
All right, well, thanks for your time, and apologize for the squinting, because as I said, I just got laser eye surgery like 3 days ago, so I'm still a little tender. Nice.
Well, that was Darren Berrecloth. Amazing. I'm down to my last Jaffa cake, which means we're out of here. And just to say, the next up is Mark Weir. So if you've got any questions that are burning inside, you've got to know about the man, the beast that is Mark Weir, drop us a line at Facebook and check our Facebook page. There it is, and ping your question across, and we'll see if we can have something more interesting than the rubbish that I come up with.